Hey, hi! Hey, Jeremy Return here. And we're being joined by Peter Kavik, senior producer on Spyro, Reignited Trilogy.
Yes!
Yes! All right, I'm so happy we could get you on the show today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. I know we're both huge fans.
Huge fans.
Of Spyro, and
Awesome.
So we got to talk about what I want to start with is the announcement comes out to everybody. Spyro is getting remastered. The Reignited Trilogy is coming. It's being made by Toys for Bob. What was the initial reaction to that? How did you guys feel like when that announcement was coming out? Like, you know, what?
Mine was elation, dude.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was so awesome getting people to see it for the first time. A lot of the team has been really cranking to make sure it's like feeling the right way all throughout, and so just getting the first feedback and people's impressions was really delightful.
Yeah, your dedication to accuracy in this game. You said that you were making sure things were in the right spot and movement was right on like a frame-by-frame basis, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the process with that?
So we didn't have the data from the original games to make, so we had to use emulation and a tool that our engineering team made called Spyroscope. Basically, I know, Spyro under a microscope. But it was essentially finding out all the relative heights of jumps and ramps and all the space around you in the original games, as well as locations for where gems go, treasures go, enemies go, just to get as accurate as possible based on whatever data we could get our hands on.
And so you haven't had a chance to play it yet.
I haven't, but as somebody who's played all the games, Game Boy games, everything like that, have you just felt the passion of the Spyro community? Because I know
they've been fantastic.
Yeah, you must have known that this was coming for a really long time, but the demands for Spyro have been loud and clear when it finally got released. The cheers were heard throughout the community.
I'm so happy to hear that.
You must work with some really amazing, passionate people.
Oh, so much so. Like, we have a number of super fans on the team. Oh, hi, Spyro.
Oh, look at him!
Gameplay from Toasty on the screen right now for us.
So we actually at the studio have a number of people that are super vocal and big advocates for honesty and authenticity in the game. So that's been one side of it. And the other part is, like, usually when we have our company meetings, we're going over and looking at some of the feedback that we're seeing online, because it's so much fuel for the team, and it's really awesome.
And that's perfect. I know the Spyro community, they love that you guys are hearing them, are responding and seeing their feedback on certain things about the game. You know, as someone who got to play a bunch of this, I think this is actually me playing right now.
Awesome.
You know, everything did feel insanely accurate to the originals, and one of the coolest things I noticed about it is when I first released a dragon, because so the first Spyro, which is what everything at E3 has been about, the first game in the trilogy, Spyro the Dragon.
Yes.
You're releasing trap dragons, and what I've been told is that every single dragon is unique and different. You're not reusing models. So it's like, tell us about your ideas with dragons here and what's happening with them.
It was just such a great opportunity. I mean, working from a game that's 20 years old, I mean, it's his birthday this September.
Right.
But just the chance to take something where they had just a handful of models that they had to just color switch on, we were able to use that to influence more of what the backstory of the world is. So Nevin here in Toasty, he's an artisan, and it's part of the artisan's homeworld. Like, all of these were just prime opportunities to say, oh, we want a painter. Oh, a sculptor would be good here, or a musician. Like, these are just great ways to just show more of how robust this world is and really get you into the fantasy of, I'm a dragon now. This is so cool.
Yeah, and you can see you've really taken off with that. Like, in this Toasty level here, you know, this is Nevin's home, and like you said, he's a painter, so there's paintings on the walls that, you know, we can maybe assume that he's done.
Yep.
I noticed one of them is Nevin himself, has a painting of himself.
He's got a little bit of an ego, right?
Right, exactly. That's a painting from a level in Spyro 2 that was like in that. It's very cool. So one of the questions that I saw online, I thought this was a very interesting question, is with all these dragons being unique, are there any female dragons? Because they were all male in the original one.
I want to leave some surprises.
Okay.
So we'll leave it at that for y'all.
I like that
It's
answer.
part of the fun. It's like the joy in Spyro, the original like wonder was just you're a little kid saving all the grown-ups and just finding all these new things. And this is a chance for us to redo that. And so that's just been super fun.
So
absolutely.
Taking a franchise that's so beloved and has been, like you said, it's been here for 20 years. How did you make the choices to change things and keep things the same? Like, what was that process like? Because I know that some of the sound effects may be different, but some of the numbers popping up when you collect a gem are like throwing me back to my childhood. Like there's so many things that are still exactly the same, but the textures are improved, the graphics are improved. So what is the decision making there when it comes to releasing a remastered trilogy?
No, that's a great question. That was like how we started the discussion in the process. It's like what degrees of things are showing the right amount of respect. And so respect was a lot of how we wanted to pay attention there. We could have creative liberties and things that enhance the world. So when we're talking about the paintings in Nevin's art gallery, that's something that you're not going to change the muscle memory that you feel, or a lot of just like the way your brain is going through the process of remembering the adventure. But by the same token, you don't want to, like the people that are speedrunners, you want to make sure that they can have an authentic experience too. And so there's that fine line there, and it's a lot of times where we have discussions at the studio about what's the thing that makes the most sense.
Right, and you know, speaking of changes and certain things made to the game, there is some gameplay playing on the floor at E3.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was shown there is a little bit of the level Twilight Harbor, which is in Nasty's world. It's like in the 6th world. Now, 20 years ago, the Norks there had machine guns and were shooting bullets at Spyro.
Yep.
And in the gameplay we saw downstairs, the bullets have been replaced with kind of like a paintball thing. It's like a purple goo.
Yeah.
Was there more moments like that, or moments that you ran into with this trilogy where things 20 years ago that might have slid through that probably weren't a good idea, nowadays we go, okay, well, let's adjust that a little bit to be more kid-friendly? Were there more moments like that?
Well, I mean, anytime you're doing a look back at something 20 years old, there's going to be those opportunities for adjustment. And I think the way that the team decided it was best to approach it was respect the core of it. And to us, the core of it is this kid going on an adventure. And anything that sort of detracts from that message and that fantasy sort of breaks that reality as you're in it. So having little changes like that we felt were safe, and that was a good way to still respect the story itself.
That's awesome. And we and so this game, it's really not that far away. It's, you know,
I'm so
less
quiet
than
'cause I'm just
100 days
watching.
away. Yeah, I know.
Like,
me too.
I'm
I
like,
keep
oh
looking
my
over the
God.
screen. I
September is going to be fun.
Yeah, September's going to be great. And so it's coming out quickly, and we've seen the box art, we've seen the art with all 3 of the villains on it, with Nasty, Ripto, and the Sorceress on the box. Is there a time period we can expect to maybe see something from Ripto's Rage, Gateway to Glimmer, or Year of the Dragon?
I am not talking about that today,
Fair
but it is
enough.
a
Fair
great
enough.
question. It is a great question.
You know, I have to try.
I know,
always
I know.
have to try.
Yeah.
And a follow-up question, I know you're probably going to say the exact same thing, but maybe if I can just plant a seed in your ear, maybe thinking about the Game Boy games.
You love those
I
Game
love
Boy
those
games.
Game Boy games. I loved every Spyro game, just maybe seeing those in some higher quality maybe someday.
Right now, we are focusing on the first 3 games.
That's fair. That's fair.
But thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Another question I have for you as
Yeah.
well. There's been information we've heard fairly recently that maybe there will be some content in the Reignited trilogy that wasn't in the original games, like maybe additional challenges and things like that. Is that something that there's actually going to be in this? Like, you know, maybe some additional cutscenes, challenges, things like that?
There's some surprises that we want to keep, and there's some things that we can and can't
We're
talk
still
about.
very secretive about this Spyro thing. But that's excellent. I mean, and I'll get into more of a fun question here,
Sure,
something we can talk about.
Okay.
Spyro the Dragon, the first game, is there a world, or more specifically, a level that you personally are in love with or love the look of? You know?
Dark Passage is a great one.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I was so happy we got to put Treetops in, because that one kicked my butt. Like,
Yes.
endlessly kicked my butt. And then
That's what everybody says.
But it's so much fun. And like, I feel like really successful now. I'm like, I can get through it. This is great.
Yeah, I was
So
really-
that's such a great feeling.
I went down to the floor and played it again earlier today,
Oh,
you know,
sweet.
because I was like, why not?
Yeah.
And I played through Treetops, and I saw people working in the booth that watched me do it, and they go, how did you do that? I was like, really?
That's
Like,
awesome.
See, now I feel like I need to get my hands on Treetops and see if I am a weird Spyro savant like you, or if I'm going to be totally.
Let me know how it goes.
Again,
Yeah.
I mean,
Hope you have fun.
what you pointed out with how accurate it is with the spiroscope and all that, it is like muscle memory kicks in, you know? And that actually leads me to another question.
Okay.
Something I noticed when playing this game is that it now has full analog support, because that's not something that the original Spyro had. You know,
Yes.
analog sticks weren't a thing.
Oh my
when
God,
Spyro
they
first came out.
weren't.
Different world.
So what I've noticed now is the camera controls. When you turn the camera on Spyro, that's now on the right stick,
Yes,
because
it
the
is.
right stick can move that. And in the original, it was on the triggers. Is there an option to put that back on the triggers if you'd
Yes.
like?
Yep, we're
Okay.
going to have it, so if you want to be torturous to yourself, you can go ahead and try that out.
Yeah.
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 No, it's a purist thing, and I think it's great to have in there, and I suck at it, so.
Right. And,
I love the analog stick.
The other level we got to see doing the gameplay was Sunny Flights. So one of the flight levels, which are levels in Spyro where you can fly instead of just gliding. You actually fly around and have to hit a target. So it's a time attack sort of thing.
Those are my favorite levels.
And it really felt like, I mean, Spyroscope went in there too. That all controlled exactly the same, right? So personally, how are you at the flight levels? Are you?
I've had good days and bad days. It's been a couple of bad days lately. Some of the team has been putting me to shame when we've been playing it around here. So
I remember you said playing and talking is not.
yeah, it's a challenge. No, I got down to I think 135 today for Sunny Flight. But someone on the team was down to 128 as of last night. So
I love that they have Spyro races.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So happy to hear about that.
Also, really silly question that just made me think of something.
Great.
If you could name your dragonfly, what would it be?
Ooh.
Right?
something with an X in it. Rex or Thrax, something like
Ooh,
that.
I like Rex.
Yeah.
Rex is a good name for a dragonfly.
But speaking of the dragonfly too, you guys have put a lot of your own little touches in the game and certain things that we weren't able to see before. One of the things I noticed is as Spyro gets hit and Sparks changes color from blue to green, not only does he turn green, but he also he looks beat up. He's like kind of droopy.
He looks sad.
He looks sad as it
He's
goes
your buddy
on.
throughout. I mean, he's going to.
Are there a lot of moments where you got to do things like that? I mean, even like the idle animations in like the sheepdogs when they're yawning and things like that that didn't used to happen. Is there anything that you got to play with that you really, really love the look of? Like this wasn't in the old one, and I just love how it looks now.
Geez, there's a number of things that I really love how they look. Even now we're looking at the Banana Boys. They just feel fun as they're marching around on their arms. There's a lot of surprises in there, and I think we just had, I think I was talking about before, just bringing the life of the world up a little bit more. And you get the chance to do that through just the art of the levels as well as the animations and the character design. All that comes together, so there's a ton of little opportunities all over the place for it.
Yeah, we can see the enemies in this map. They're very like primate looking, you know, and it struck me when I first played this that's not, when I played it, I never really pictured them that way because I mean they were just some polygons.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
some
Your
with
mind
big
had to
arms.
fill it in.
Yeah.
Were there moments when looking at the designs of things where there was discrepancies between people on what things looked like in their mind versus someone else's? Because you said you had a lot of super fans. I'm sure everyone had their own mental picture of what these levels looked like rather than just a couple of.
I mean, there was opportunities for that in more of the, let's say, less descript things like the dragons. So there was some opportunities in that with the enemies, but I think the way that we approach the dragons with really going hard on how they come across differently. Yeah, right?
They look so
it's
amazing.
It's just trying to give them that vibrance.
Yeah, you can see even just in Spyro's face, he has so much more to him. He has more life to him. He's not just a little tiny purple and orange blob. He has
It's like
expressions.
100 times the polygons now, yeah.
Yeah, he's. I think that it's so heartwarming to see a childhood icon smile and laugh. And
You
when
guys are
he-
getting me to say thank you a lot. I appreciate it.
I mean, we love it. We love this game.
this. We love the Spyro's back.
Right, and yeah, the gameplay feel. If you've played the original Spyros and you're thinking about picking this up, and you're like, I don't, want to ruin what my childhood was. It's not. It's perfect. It feels exactly like it did, but just looks a million times better.
Right.
It really does. And the other really cool thing is the voice acting in this. A lot of the original voice actors are back. Tom Kenny actually is the one who
the big
voiced
one, yep.
Spyro.
That's so amazing.
And what's cool is he voices Spyro in this first game.
Well,
But
he was
wasn't-
only
he
in the
wasn't
second and
original.
third.
Right, he
Yeah.
wasn't the original Spyro in the
This
first
is a
game,
great chance to like unify the experience and just be like, here is Spyro. This is fan favorite Spyro. He's front and center throughout all of the adventures.
Right, and we have the original voice actors back on the cast for things like Hunter and Ripto.
Yep.
And so it really is, you guys really are just dedicated to accuracy.
We are trying everything in our power. Yes.
It's the Spyroscope. It's all about the Spyroscope.
Yep.
So is Spyro a game that you played when it first came out, or did you jump into Spyro a little later?
I got a PlayStation a little bit later, and then I definitely played it.
Yeah.
And it's coming back to it now, like just as an adult, it's been like, oh, sweet.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. So it's coming out. What's the release date on?
September 21st.
That's so close. I'm so excited for that.
It's really
My
coming up
goodness.
quick.
It is.
So much, and I'm watching the internet explode off of how much footage has come out recently. People are really losing it. The more people see, the more people are loving it, which is perfect. I know
That
that's
makes
what
me
you
so
wanted.
happy.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
I'm pumped for Spyro. You're
I'm
pumped for Spyro. You all should be thrilled for it coming out. Hopefully, we'll hear more from Peter Cavik in the future.
Absolutely.
On our channel. So we're going to be throwing it back over to the sidecar. Oh, are we? I don't know.